Stop feeling helpless after 60. 5 tools to regain control of daily tasks, even with arthritis. You know, there's a moment I think many of us have had. Maybe you felt it too. You're standing in the kitchen, staring at a jar of pickles you'd love to open for lunch, but your hands just won't cooperate. Or maybe you've been putting off tidying up the living room because bending down to pick up that magazine feels like climbing a mountain these days. And when that happens, it's easy to sigh and say, well, that's just how it is now. But let me ask you something. Does it really have to be that way? Hi there, friend. I'm so glad you're here. Today, we're talking about something that matters deeply to anyone who's ever felt like life after 60 comes with more limitations than possibilities. Maybe arthritis has made your joints stiff, or maybe it's just that the energy you once had doesn't show up like it used to. But here's the truth I want you to hold on to. Feeling helpless isn't a life sentence. It's a problem we can solve together. In this series, we'll walk through 5 simple, practical tools to help you take back control of your daily tasks, even if arthritis or other challenges try to slow you down. These aren't complicated gadgets or expensive fixes. They're tried and true strategies that real people just like you, use every day to stay independent, confident, and full of life. And today, we're starting with the first 2. Let's dive in. The first tool is something I call the magic of adaptive tools. Now, I know what you're thinking. Adaptive tools? That sounds like something from a hospital. But stick with me. Imagine this. You're making a cup of tea, and instead of wrestling with the kettle, you use a lightweight electric one with an automatic shutoff. Or picture opening that jar of pickles with a sleek, ergonomic jar opener that does the work for your hands. These aren't cheats, friend. They're smart solutions designed to keep you doing what you love, without the struggle. Take my neighbor Margaret, for example. She's 72, loves gardening, but arthritis in her wrists made pruning her roses feel impossible. Then she discovered ratchet-style pruning shears. With a gentle squeeze, the gears do the heavy lifting. Now, her garden's thriving, and she's out there every morning, smiling like she's won the lottery. Margaret didn't give up by using those shears. She won back her favorite hobby. And that's the key. Adaptive tools aren't about admitting defeat. They're about rewriting the rules, so you stay in charge. Start small. Look for items with padded handles, lever-style doorknobs, or even a reach-a-grabber for those high shelves. You'd be amazed how these little changes add up to big victories. Now, let's talk about the second tool, the power of pacing. I'll bet you've had days where you push yourself to finish a task all at once, scrubbing the kitchen floor, raking leaves, or organizing the closet, only to pay for it with aching joints and exhaustion the next day. Sound familiar? Here's the thing. Our bodies do change as we age, but that doesn't mean we have to stop doing what matters. It just means we need to work smarter, not harder. Think of your energy like a bank account. If you withdraw too much at once, you'll end up overdrawn. But if you make small, steady deposits of rest and activity, you'll stay in the green. Let me give you an example. My friend Harold, who's 68, used to mow his entire lawn in one go. By the end, he'd be wiped out for days. Then he tried something new, splitting the job into 20-minute chunks, with breaks in between to sip lemonade and enjoy the birdsong. Not only did the lawn still get done, but he actually looked forward to it. The trick is to break tasks into bite-sized pieces and celebrate each step. Cleaning the house? Tackle one room a day. Cooking dinner? Prep veggies in the morning when your hands are less stiff. And here's the golden rule. Rest is not laziness. It's fuel. By pacing yourself, you're not giving in to limitations. You're outsmarting them. Now, I know what some of you might be thinking. But what if I've already tried these things and they don't work? Or maybe, this sounds too simple to make a difference. I hear you. Change can feel daunting, especially when pain or fatigue have been constant companions. But here's the secret. Progress isn't about perfection. It's about trying one small thing, then another. Maybe today it's swapping out your old can opener for an ergonomic one. Tomorrow, it's setting a timer to remind yourself to take a break while folding laundry. And if you're feeling skeptical, that's okay. I felt the same way when I first learned about these tools. But then I saw how Margaret's garden bloomed again, how Harold reclaimed his pride in his yard, and how my own Aunt Clara started hosting family dinners once she started using a rolling cart to carry dishes instead of lugging them by hand. These aren't miracles, they're choices. Choices that say, I'm still the boss of my life. So, let's keep that momentum going. Because up next, we're going to explore how movement and mindset can become your greatest allies in this journey. No fancy equipment or drastic overhauls required. But for now, I'd love to hear from you. Have you tried an adaptive tool that changed your daily routine? Or found a way to pace yourself that brought the joy back into a task? Share your story in the comments below. You might just inspire someone else to take that first step. Remember, friend, this isn't about turning back the clock. It's about making the most of the time you've got. And you've got so much good time left. Let's make it count, together. You know, there's something I've noticed about the folks who thrive after 60. They don't let stiff joints or tired days define what's possible. Instead, they get curious. They ask, what if I tried it this way instead? And that's exactly where we're picking up today. Because the next two tools we're diving into aren't just about doing things differently. They're about seeing things differently. Let me explain. The third tool is movement as medicine. Now, before you roll your eyes and think, oh, here comes the exercise lecture. Let me promise you, this isn't about running marathons or lifting weights. In fact, it's quite the opposite. When arthritis or stiffness creeps in, it's tempting to avoid moving altogether. But here's the paradox. The less we move, the harder it becomes to move at all. Take my friend Linda. She's 75 and has dealt with knee pain for years. For a long time, she avoided stairs, stopped gardening, and even gave up her weekly coffee dates because getting in and out of the car felt like a chore. Then her physical therapist taught her about motion lotion, gentle, daily movements to keep her joints lubricated. Linda started with seated leg lifts while watching her favorite shows. Then she added arm circles while waiting for the kettle to boil. Within weeks, she noticed she could bend to tie her shoes without holding her breath. Now, she's back to her coffee group, using a sturdy cane for balance and a chuckle-worthy motto. Keep the wheels greased. The lesson here? Movement doesn't have to be big to be powerful. Start with what feels manageable. Wiggle your fingers while reading. Shift your weight from heel to toe while brushing your teeth. Try seated yoga stretches. There are wonderful free videos online tailored for stiff joints. The goal isn't to work out. It's to remind your body it's still capable. And here's a tip. Pair movement with something you enjoy. Listen to Frank Sinatra while stretching, or call a grandkid during a leisurely walk around the block. Before you know it, those small motions become moments of freedom. Now, let's talk about the fourth tool, the mindset reset. This one might surprise you, because it's not about your body, it's about your brain. See, when daily tasks start feeling like hurdles, it's easy to fall into a spiral of thoughts like, I can't do this anymore, or what's the point? But here's the truth. How you talk to yourself shapes what you believe is possible. Let me introduce you to Frank. He's 81, a retired mechanic who's always prided himself on being the fix-it guy. But after a shoulder injury, he struggled to even change a light bulb. Frank told me he felt like a useless old man until his daughter handed him a notebook and said, write down one thing you did do today, no matter how small. The first day, Frank wrote, made toast without dropping the bread. A week later, it was, fixed the squeaky cabinet door with my left hand. Slowly, he began noticing his victories instead of his limitations. Last month, he rigged up a pulley system to water his hanging plants, one-handed. That's the power of a mindset shift. So, how can you start your own reset? Begin by catching those negative thoughts and flipping them. Instead of, I can't open jars anymore, try, I'm learning new ways to get things done. Celebrate effort, not just results. And here's a game changer. Reframe help as teamwork, not weakness. Asking a neighbor to carry in your groceries isn't surrender, it's smart. Using a walker isn't giving up, it's claiming your independence. Now, I'll be honest, this tool takes practice. Old habits of self-criticism run deep. But think of it like breaking in a new pair of shoes. Uncomfortable at first, but oh so worth it once they start molding to your stride. And if you're thinking, but what if I don't feel positive? That's okay. You don't have to feel it to do it. Start with tiny, deliberate shifts. Post a sticky note on your mirror that says, "I'm still figuring this out." Text a friend one thing you're proud of today, even if it's just, "I got dressed." Over time, those sparks of kindness to yourself will light a fire. You see, friend, aging isn't about losing control. It's about learning new ways to steer. And the beauty of tools like movement and mindset is that they're free, flexible, and entirely yours to shape. Maybe today you'll try ankle rolls during the morning news. Maybe you'll swap "I can't" for "I'll try." Or maybe you'll simply take a deep breath and acknowledge how far you've already come. Because here's what I want you to remember. Every small choice adds up. Margaret's garden didn't bloom overnight. Frank's pulley system took trial and error. But they kept going. Not because it was easy, but because they decided their joy mattered more than their pride. And speaking of joy, wait until you hear about the fifth tool. It's all about rediscovering the fun in everyday life, even when challenges try to dim the light. But for now, I'd love to hear from you. Have you found a movement that makes your body sigh with relief? Or a mantra that helps you quiet those "I can't" thoughts? Share it below. Your story might be the nudge someone else needs to take their next step. Until next time, keep greasing those wheels, and remember, you're not just getting by. You're getting better. You know, there's a memory I hold close, one I think about whenever life feels heavy. Years ago, my Aunt Clara, who's now 82, sat me down at her kitchen table, her hands knotted with arthritis, and said, "Honey, I've decided something. If I can't dance anymore, I'll just learn to sway." At the time, I didn't fully get it, but now, watching her hum along to old Motown records while she slowly sweeps her porch, I realize she wasn't giving up dancing. She was reinventing it. And that, friend, brings us to our fifth and final tool, the joy factor. Let's be real, when pain or fatigue sets in, joy can feel like a luxury. You might think, how can I focus on fun when I'm just trying to get through the day? But here's the twist. Joy isn't just a feeling. It's a strategy. It's about weaving little moments of delight into your routine, so that life feels less like a checklist and more like something worth savoring. Take my cousin Eddie, for example. He's 76, a lifelong woodworker whose hands started trembling so badly he couldn't hold a chisel. For months, he drifted around his workshop, staring at half-finished birdhouses like they were ghosts of his old self. Then one day, his granddaughter handed him a glue gun and a pile of popsicle sticks. "Build me a fairy castle, Grandpa," she said. Now, Eddie's crafting entire glitter-covered villages, no precise cuts needed. He's even selling them at the local flea market. Turns out, he told me, I don't miss the chisel, I miss the creating. And glitter fixes a lot. Eddie's story isn't about swapping hobbies. It's about redefining what brings you alive. Maybe you loved gardening, but can't kneel anymore. Could a window herb garden or a succulent terrarium spark that same pride? Maybe cooking from scratch feels overwhelming. What if you hosted a make-your-own sandwich night with grandkids? Laughter as your secret ingredient? Joy doesn't have to be big. It just has to be yours. Now you might be thinking, but what if I don't feel joyful? What if I'm just tired? I hear you. Joy isn't about slapping on a smile. It's about curiosity. Start by asking yourself, what used to make me light up, and how can I adapt it? Here's a simple trick. Keep a joy journal for a week. Jot down one thing each day that made you pause and think, that was nice. Maybe it's the smell of coffee brewing, the way sunlight hits your favorite chair at 3 p.m., or the sound of a neighbor's wind chimes. Once you spot those patterns, you can start sprinkling them into your days on purpose. And don't underestimate the power of shared joy. My friend Rosa, 79, told me she felt isolated after she stopped driving, until she joined a weekly puzzle group at the community center. We don't even talk much, she said, but laughing over missing pieces, that's medicine. Connection doesn't have to mean deep conversations. Sometimes it's just showing up for a card game, a bird-watching walk, or even a virtual Tai Chi class where everyone's too busy balancing to chat. Here's the heart of it. Joy is rebellion. It's choosing to focus on what you can add to your life, even when the world, or your joints, tells you to subtract. It's refusing to let arthritis steal your spark, even if that spark is now a cozy campfire instead of a bonfire. So how do you start? Try this. Pick one tiny joy experiment this week. Replay a song that used to make you dance and tap your feet. Dig out an old photo album and let the memories wash over you. Or call a friend and say, "Tell me something good." You don't need energy, just a willingness to notice. Now, I won't pretend this is always easy. Some days, joy feels as out of reach as a star. On those days, be gentle. Joy isn't a quota. It's a flicker you nurture. And when you can't find it, borrow someone else's. Watch a silly cat video. Listen to a grandchild's nonsensical joke. Let their light hold you until yours comes back. Because here's the truth. Helplessness hates joy. It can't thrive in the same space as laughter, curiosity, or glitter. Every time you choose to savor a moment, you're telling yourself, "I'm still here. I'm still me." You've made it through all 5 tools, friend. Adaptive tools, pacing, movement, mindset, and joy. Each one a stepping stone back to yourself. But before we wrap up, there's something important I need to share. It's about what ties all these tools together, and why they work best when woven into the tapestry of your unique, wonderful life. So, let's take a deep breath, put the kettle on, and step into our final conversation. Because this is where it all comes full circle. There's a story my grandfather used to tell me about an old oak tree in his backyard. For decades, it stood tall, weathering storms and scorching summers. But one year, lightning struck it, splitting the trunk down the middle. Everyone assumed it was done for. Yet that tree, it kept growing. Not upward, as it once had, but outward, its branches curving around the scar, leaves sprouting in unexpected places. Funny thing about life, Grandpa would say. It's not about how you bend. It's about how you grow around the bends. That tree has stayed with me, friend, because it's a lot like us. Life after 60 isn't about avoiding storms or pretending the lightning never hit. It's about learning how to grow through the changes, one resilient, stubborn, beautiful leaf at a time. And that's exactly what these 5 tools are. Your sunlight, your water, your way of growing through. Let's take a quiet walk through them one last time, shall we? We started with adaptive tools, those clever gadgets and tweaks that turn I can't into I did. Margaret's pruning shears, Harold's pacing strategy, Aunt Clara's rolling cart. They're proof that asking for help, whether from a tool or a friend, isn't weakness. It's wisdom. Then came pacing, that gentle art of balancing effort and rest. It's not about doing less, it's about doing enough. Enough to keep your pride intact, your home cozy, and your body thanking you instead of rebelling. Movement as medicine reminded us that even the tiniest motions, ankle rolls, seated stretches, heel-to-toe sways, are love letters to our joints. Linda's motion lotion and Frank's pulley system taught us that progress isn't measured in miles, but in moments. The mindset reset was our wake-up call to ditch the "I'm too old" script and write a new one. Frank's notebook of victories showed us that how we talk to ourselves changes everything. And finally, joy, that glittery, stubborn rebellion, taught us that delight isn't frivolous. It's oxygen. Eddie's popsicle castles and Rosa's puzzle group proved that even on hard days, joy is a choice we get to make. Now, I know what some of you might be thinking. But where do I start? It's all so much. And you're right. Change can feel overwhelming. So here's my challenge to you. Begin with one thing. Just one. Maybe today, it's buying a jar opener. Maybe it's setting a timer for 15 minutes while you garden, then resting guilt-free. Maybe it's writing down, "I unloaded the dishwasher," and calling it a win. Or perhaps it's dialing a friend and saying, "Tell me something that made you smile this week." There's no right way to do this. Your journey is yours alone. But I can promise you this. Every time you choose to adapt, to pace, to move, to reframe, or to seek joy, you're telling yourself, "I matter." And that message, it's contagious. Before we say goodbye, I want to leave you with a question my Aunt Clara asked me recently. She said, What's the point of living longer if we're not living louder? She didn't mean volume. She meant vibrancy, the kind that comes from stubbornly, joyfully insisting that life is still yours to shape. So let's make a pact, you and I. Let's promise to stop calling ourselves helpless, even as a joke. Let's trade that word for resourceful, adaptable, still learning. Let's swap size for experiments, frustration for curiosity, and I used to for I get to. And if you take nothing else from this series, take this. You are not your limitations. You're the pruning shears that outsmarted arthritis, the puzzle pieces that became laughter, the oak tree growing around the lightning. You're here. You're trying. And that's extraordinary. Now, I'd love to hear your story. How have you rewritten the rules lately? What small victory made your day brighter? Share it in the comments, because your words might be the lifeline someone else needs. If this series resonated with you, please give the video a thumbs up. It helps others find their way here too. And if you're not already part of our community, hit that subscribe button. We've got more stories to share, more tools to explore, and plenty of glittery joy ahead. From my heart to yours, thank you for showing up, for trying, for reminding all of us that life after 60 isn't an ending, it's a new kind of beginning. Here's to growing through, friend. And here's to you,